All right, half a life. This is one of the episodes that you could use this in a TTRPG. Be very careful with this because of the fact that this is one of those episodes where the alien of the week is the majority of the episode. It also has Luoxana Troy in it to do a lot of stuff because it's Luoxana Troy who is the mouthpiece for interacting with the alien of the week because most of what we meet of the Kaelon is a single individual, Dr. Timison here, who is attempting to do a stellar rejuvenation experiment to prevent his home planet's sun from expanding into a red giant and incinerating all life on the planet. Now, it's not like they're going to die off in a few years, but they've come to realize that their planet has a limited lifespan. Thing is, the Kaelon have decided not to leave their homeworld. In fact, it's apparently their government apparently prohibits anyone from leaving their homeworld. The science ministry has been shaping Kaelon society with a focus on advancing their technological capabilities, and in doing so, have been interacting with other races from outside their solar system, including, you know, sharing scientific information with the Federation, which is the entire reason why Dr. Timison came on board the Enterprise D to work on his stellar rejuvenation experiment that they played out in Praxilus, which failed. But after analyzing his data, Timison was convinced that he had figured out a few things about why it failed that would be relevant to making it work in a future experiment. And he also felt that training a replacement to actually continue his work would be functionally impossible because of the whole resolution thing, where where they, their lives end at the age of 60 because the government tells them to. It's not explained why. This is one of those things that is part of the core aspect of why this episode is so icky in terms of being a thing to use in a TTRPG. The Kalon government has a set of rules. You're not allowed to leave the planet indefinitely. You're required to self terminate at the age of 60. And the episode doesn't tell us why. The basic gist of the plot of the episode is actually pretty simple. Dr. Timison comes on board the Enterprise and is romantically attached to Loxana Troy, despite the fact that he's um, approximately at the age of resolution, so he would be expected to resolve his life soon and not actually be able to marry her or something. I get why they wrote a romance subplot with this one. They just did. At any rate, it's not the only episode that does that either. Yes, they did write an in-universe explanation for why Luoxana Troy has more than one romantic interest, despite being old enough to be a grandmother. Anyways, um, so yeah, Dr. Timison comes on board. They do his experiments. Then they have Science Minister Batardat talk to the crew of the Enterprise about the whole resolution thing, and that the failed experiment was meant to be Dr. Timison's last act before he did his resolution, and that he was actually kind of overdue, and that the government had given him an extension so that he could do one last experiment before he went. And then Batardat sends a fleet of Kaelon warships to prevent the Enterprise from leaving with Dr. Timison. A lot of players, if you throw this at them in a TTRPG, would basically declare war on the Kaelon government immediately. This is, like I said before, it's like this is like a stereotypical lawful evil thing. And a lot of players would be like, "Oh, yes, well, you see, your right to do as you uh, wish ends where someone else's right to do where they wish begins, and therefore he blah 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 blah." One thing that is quite clear in this episode is that Dr. Timison was concerned that if his asylum request went through, it would cause problems on his planet. His planet is mostly peaceful only because of the fact that the government's mandates are being followed by the majority of the population, and that only a few people actually uh, try to rebel. Having someone publicly be like, "Nope, I'm leaving the planet. Screw you all," when it's someone who is such a high profile individual would have been a catastrophic blow to the government's um I guess you would say prestige. As in the people of the planet would start to question whether following the government's mandates regarding the resolution were actually right, and whether they should tell the government that they're going to ignore it. And that's where the episode ends. Timison decides to play along with it in order to prevent his world from being engulfed in the fires of revolution instead of fixing the problem of their son being well, yeah, he realized that having his world undergo revolution would um be the greater of two evils, or so he concluded at the end of the episode. It's like, yes, having his research data get used by people who don't actually understand it and probably won't be able to figure out how to make it work anytime soon would be better than having the government collapse because the populace has decided to hell with you. And of course, if he was to actually find a solution to the problem with the sun, the Ministry of Science on Kaelon would refuse to use it because he's an exile and an outcast, and also they would physically prevent anyone from the Federation from using it. And yeah, that is one of those things is just mm, putting that in players' laps. That would be a lot of food for thought. Do they like food for thought? Maybe not. Definitely something that you could do and something worth thinking about, and especially in the modern political climate, something people might not want to think about. Anyways, see you guys later.